Welcome to the wonderful world of leathercraft. My name is George Hurd. In this program, I would like to introduce you to basic leather carving. This is the basis for all leather carving and is only the beginning of unlimited possibilities of decorating leather. To begin, I'd like to show you what I've got on the table here. I've got a basic, very simple pattern that we're going to do. I've got some tracing film and of course some vegetable tanned leather. Step one is to make a tracing. Now I'll place my tracing film over the pattern that I'm going to do, and I will trace with a pencil all of the lines that you see on this pattern. Now I will set this aside and get our leather ready. We have here this piece of vegetable tanned leather, and if you notice when I hit it with a dampened sponge, it absorbs moisture immediately. Well, this is what we want. This is why we choose vegetable tanned leather. And we'll get a fairly good amount on here. We want it to be damp but not soggy. Now we'll set it aside for a few minutes and wait till it begins to return to its natural color. My leather is beginning to return to its natural color, as you can tell by the light spots here on the edges. So now I'll place my pattern on the leather, and with the stylus I can retrace these lines. Now lift it up to make sure. Yes, and we're getting a nice impression. So now it's just a matter of tracing the pattern. Not pressing too deep, because we want it to have a nice line that we can see, but it doesn't necessarily have to be real deep. So we're doing just fine. You may notice that this line here, I put a dotted line. That's because later on I don't want to cut that. I want to do something else with it. So there's our pattern now, all ready to start carving. To hold the swivel knife, you put your first finger in the saddle as you see me here, and then you use your thumb and your second finger to revolve the barrel. Now notice that I'm holding it perpendicular from left to right and just tipping it forward. This is how it's best held for cutting. I have here a strop made from cardboard with some jeweler's rouge rubbed on it, and I'll use this to polish the sides of my blade. Your blade should always be polished and nice and sharp. I'm now going to use my knife, and notice how I'm turning it, and I will cut all of the lines that we traced. Staying on the line as best we can. Next, we will use the camouflage tool. The full impression looks like that. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to tip it to one side, and we'll only use a partial impression. You'll notice I'm going up the side of this stem, and I'm leaning it to one side. Now as I get higher, I can straighten it up a little more. And now I'll also use it at the end of this swirl. Tap that one fairly deep. The next tool we're going to use is called a pear shader. The full impression looks like that. Now I will use it to put shading and contour onto my flower. Notice I'm holding it slightly above the surface of the leather, or just barely touching it, and then as I hit it, it kind of bounces, and I can nudge it in the direction I want it to go, and I can kind of fill up that area. I'll do the same thing over here. Go over it as many times as you would like to until you're pleased with the results. Now I'm going to use a smaller one, still a pear shader. Looks like this, and I'm going to use that on this swirl. The next tool is called a beveler, and you'll notice that it's longer on one side than the other. This is so we can use it to create depth and dimension. The impression looks like that. So what it does, we'll put it in the cut as you see here, and as I hit it I can walk it along, and as I walk it you'll see now by beveling on this side it gives the illusion that the other side is standing up. This is what our piece looks like after we've done the beveling. The next tool we're going to use is called a veiner. The full impression looks like this. We'll use two of them, one that's got a scallop on the inside and one that doesn't. So we'll use them in this manner. The one with the scallops, I like to use that one on this fern swirl. And you'll notice I'm tipping it to one side, only getting a partial impression. I'm going around this swirl. And I'm turning the tool as I go so it flows with the flow of the lines. The last few tap lightly. The one without the scallops, now we'll just use that here and we'll tip it to just get to create like the look of a fold in there. Now we're going to use a tool called the mule's foot, and it kind of looks like a horseshoe. We won't use that much on this pattern, but we will use it right here at the base of this flower pod. Now we're going to use the cedar. The cedar looks just like this. And we use that to outline the seed pod. I'll first use it like this, and I will follow the dotted line that we traced on there to guide me along the top of the seed pod. Now we will just use the cedar and fill in the remaining area of the seed pod. The last stamping tool we're going to use is called a backgrounder. The impression looks like that. Now we will use that in this area in here to pound it down, and this will cause our pattern to stand out more. And now it's back to the swivel knife. As always, we need to strop our blade. This is every time we pick it up. Now I'll just freehand some nice lines in here. You can follow the pattern, or you can create your own. I kind of like to create my own. And our little flower is finished.